Hello and welcome back to Ntanzi. We're back again. It is that time, that time of the night. I don't know. You know how men they are. Vedu, their keeper. It's nice to be here. By Shalom Yumbe. It's nice to be here and
on the troll.
Let us welcome you. Let us welcome you in a right way.
Yes, guys. Welcome to the Ntanzi Reality YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us yet again as we continue to deliberate on this pity happening in the Senzo Meyiwa Trial.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But today, we're just going to try to summarize this as much as we can.
Okay, I'm going to be quick. I'm going to be quick, you guys, today so that we can open the lines.
Yeah,
maybe.
If there are those who still want to say something,
yes, please.
Maybe they can say
I
something.
miss you guys. Yo, I miss you. So, Tulani Mgome Zulu for accused number 1, Muzi Sibia was not in court in the morning, though he later came. Apparently, he had sent a letter to the judge to be excused. So, Sipho Ramosipili started with his cross-examination of Fine Tellingem, the cell phone forensic Tonton from Vodacom. And he said that Miss Kelly Kumalo was using about 7 or 8 numbers at the time, according to Colonel Stein. And Ramasipili mentioned all the numbers, okay? He mentioned them verbatim, all 8 numbers. I didn't take them down. Well, Ramasipili said that all of these numbers, especially the cell phone numbers, that he or they obtained Section 205s. And he asked the Fine Tellingem if they had obtained the Section 205s for all of these numbers. And Fine Tellingem said that she could not tell offhand. She said that there were a number of Section 205s for this case. And she said that they won't have data for the 011 numbers and numbers that are not theirs. So now she could not testify on other numbers that belong to other networks.
Yes, we've been asking about that. Don't act so surprised. We have. Unfortunately, we just caught up with them now. Then they started doing the right thing. They couldn't testify on
but in her evidence in chief, she was testifying on numbers that did not belong to Vodacom. And we had questions. Remember?
Yes.
We had questions about that, Uguti. Why are you testifying on numbers that don't necessarily belong to your network?
Yep.
Does it mean that the service providers of these other numbers are not going to come and testify? That is the question we had at the time.
No, sure, it looks like that. They are not going to come and testify.
Well,
Only Vodacom.
Only Vodacom is available. That, works. The person that is testifying works with the police, as we heard yesterday from her testimony. Ramasipili then said in the absence of those 205s, they were trying to ascertain communication in between parties in the house and the suspects. The picture then becomes incomplete, he said. The judge asked Ramasipili why he said that the picture would rather be incomplete, because the witness acted on the affidavit. They only gave her the number with no name, and she has no authority to go beyond that. Doesn't she? Doesn't she have RICA information? Why is the judge making excuses for somebody doing their job?
I don't think this excuse was relevant to the question that was raised, or the suggestion that was raised.
Okay,
wasn't the suggestion with regards to other network providers?
With all of them, not just the other ones, even the ones that she got Section 205s for.
And you're saying they're not there?
And the judge was making an excuse for her to say that she's just given a number. It's not her obligation to find out who that number belongs to and attach a name to that number.
No, but it was giving these things not selectively. He was giving all these numbers.
Yes.
So there is a possibility that there is information that is being hidden.
Yes, there is. And yeah, she said that she had no authority to go beyond that. How convenient. And section 200, it told her to go about the information that is given like this. The judge told Ramasipili to say that to Sibanda and not the witness.
It's deflecting and disturbing and
So it's
disturbing
the
the process.
duty of Sibanda to find out who the number belongs to when Feintelingem has information to read
First and foremost,
stuff.
he was not being blamed.
No.
What they were trying to drive is that with that information that the state could be withholding.
Well, she said she was only supposed to deal with Stain's numbers. Otherwise, they were going to just be there for the whole year. That is the judge saying all of this, creating all of these excuses, blocking Ramasipili from executing his job, in my opinion. Sibanda stood to object, saying that what he understood from what was being asked yesterday was the question was a hypothesis. Sibanda said that he wanted to know if it was now being stated as a fact and that there was communication between the people who were in the house. I don't understand the sense of this question, guys. Don't ask me. I don't know what Sibanda was talking about or asking. I have no idea. I'm just as lost as everyone else. Okay. He was like, the objection, I don't know. I don't know what is happening right now. We're just gonna go with the flow. Ramasipili said that it was the evidence of Mr. Steyn, and he is not speaking on the truthfulness of whatever was being raised by Mr. Mgomezulu yesterday. So it seemed like Sibanda's objection, he had mixed in the test, the cross-examination of Mr. Mgomezulu as well as Ramasipili. It didn't make any sense. And just as he was saying that, I also saw Mr. Mgomezulu in the background, and it looked like he had just walked in. So he arrived earlier than anticipated. Well, Sibanda said that he does not see where Colonel Steyn said that there was communication between people that were in the house as well as the suspect. So Ramasipili said that the mandate that Colonel Steyn had from Colonel Gininda was to check whether the parties in the house communicated with the suspects. He never said that there was communication between the people in the house. And Ramasipili said that there is a tower called Muleleki Tower. A witness came to court, Mr. Zungu, Yebo, Namkumbul, and he testified on the day in question that he was with people, including suspects at Basotho Hostel, where there was a song and dance, and they were eating and they were merry. And he said to Ms. Feintelingem that if you look at the 26th of October 2014, is there a stage where the 8169 number, or the number ending with 8169, that is said to belong to accused number 2, registered at Muleleki Tower? Zungu said that he joined them in the hostel at around 2 in the afternoon. The judge wanted Ramasipili to put it to the witness that he was at Basotho Hostel and accused number 3, 4, and 5 phoned and was using a cell phone. The judge said that that is the only way that Ramasipili can connect the evidence. Otherwise, he did not know how the lady referring to Ms. Feintelingem was going to do it or was going to answer the question. So he literally wanted Mr. Ramasipili to start from the beginning of Zungu's testimony, quote what Zungu was saying, and then mention which person Zungu said he had called, and then ask if he had called accused number 2. And if accused number 2's cell phone registered at Muleleki Tower, that is alleged to be closer to Basotho Hostel. This is where Ramasipili was going. But somehow in between there, the judge was slotting in misdirections, in my opinion, throwing him off, in my opinion. In Cheyenne, but that's my opinion. Well, the judge asked by phoning who. He wanted to know who Ramasepeli was saying that had been called on the 26th of October. And Sibanda stood to object, asking Ramasepeli to refer them to a relevant passage where Colonel Steyn said that the Muleleki Tower was at Basotho Hostel. Where was Sibanda when Steyn was testifying?
I would not know.
Why doesn't he Google to find out where Muleleki Tower is? What is going on? Well, the judge then said that Colonel Steyn was asked to estimate the distance. Better yet, Fine Tillingam is in the court. I'm sure she can find out where Muleleki Tower is.
Yeah.
There was now an argument between Ramasepeli and the judge, and at this moment I did not know whether the judge was referring to Steyn or Hose's evidence, and also implied that Fine Tillingam was saying the same thing using the radius. You remember the doodle from yesterday that was confidential. Yes. Ramasepeli asked what was the distance from View Tower to the crime scene, and Fine Tillingam said that it was 1.18 kilometers. Fine Tillingam also said that from Park Hare Tower to the crime scene, it is 2.2 kilometers. And Ramasepeli asked
the argument that ensued between Ramasepeli, the judge was expecting that radius to be outside
of
the so-called requirement that Pinky gave.
Elaborate. What do you mean he was expecting the radius to be outside of what Pinky had given? Kanjani?
As a requirement of when can you be connected to a tower.
Oh.
He thought it would be outside.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So Ramasepeli.
So he was trying to say, what is the relevance of you asking that question? Because the radius, as he said,
is outside.
It's outside, but unfortunately,
no.
Even though the radius keeps on changing, chopping and changing now and then, the radius of urban areas was 3 kilometers, right?
Yes,
now
5 kilometers actually.
Now
500 meters to 5 kilometers, yes.
Now it's 5. It started at 3.
Oh, it started at 3.
Now it's 5.
Then it's changed from 500 meters yesterday to 5 kilometers. Yes, before adjournment it was 3 kilometers, I remember. So Ramasepeli then said, given the evidence, the coverage area would cover like towers of the crime scene. And Fine Tillingam said that it was within the vicinity. So Ramasepeli then moved to the section 205 for the phone. The police claimed that they had confiscated from Ntanzi on the 7th of February 2021, months after his arrest. Fine Tillingam said that on the 17th of June at 8:52, the tower that was picked up was Hawaii Street. The activity was a call that was received from 081-057-786 to the number ending 460, and the cell phone was on voicemail. At 8:53:59, the tower is Old Apostolic Church, and the activity is 8460, was still on voicemail from the number ending with 7786.
Thank you very much, Tabomnis.
Thank you, Tabomnisi.
If you know, thank you.
Thank you. And at 9:37 to 8:34, the towers were Vosloorus Square, and the activity was 8460, and it remained on voicemail. So this was basically somewhat of a refresher. You know, it was a refresher of evidence because the time the Ramasepeli was asking about the time on specifically this date of the 17th of June 2020, and now he went to 15:34:48. That's later on in the afternoon, an empty SMS which was received by 8460, and the tower was Bill Filion. And Ramasipili said that Colonel Steyn and Sergeant Mokhani testified that Bilfilion Street was a street closer to Pretoria North police station.
Yes.
Now this is interesting. The 17th of June is the following day after they had arrested him. They had arrested him at night on the 16th.
He was not taken out to anywhere near Vosloorus and other places.
No. The version so far, no. So 1940 Tower, Pretoria North, Ramasipili explained to Vaintelingam why he was focusing on the 8460 number. Is that his instruction from accused number 2 that he was arrested on the 16th of June 2020. And when he was arrested by Sergeant Mokhane and Mabena, they confiscated 2 phones on him. And his instruction is that 8460 was on the smaller phone. The white phone that belonged to his sister. And 6890 was the Samsung Galaxy that also had another number because it was a dual SIM. And on the 17th, accused number 2 was in custody in Pretoria North police station. He was never booked out during the day when there were transactions on his phone. And he was not in possession of his phone. So the accused was never at Hawaii and the Vosloorus Square.
Then who was there?
Because he never booked out on that day. Haigelana, I thought to go to Sebenzilo Ramasipili. I was like, okay, he really studied the data here. This is all very interesting.
Yeah.
But then at 1940, he said that the phone registered at Pretoria North NGA, but the 6890 was still making activities, and we knew at the time that accused number 2 was being interrogated by the police at the boardroom in Pretoria North. So when these transactions were happening, the phones were not with accused number 2. There is a version also that accused number 2 was searched in that boardroom. Do you remember that version?
Yes.
And even told to take off his shirt as they were looking for tattoos.
Yes.
And even took pictures. But the state did not share those pictures. They only shared the pictures of accused number 1 with his shirt off.
Yeah.
And Mohola, Mokhani, and even Gininda, they denied that that took place. And at the time, I was wondering, why are they denying such a thing that could have taken place? Today, it made sense to me why there could have been that denial. Because denying in all kinds of situations where they were arresting him, they denied that they searched him. From the beginning, they've been denying that they searched him. And it didn't make sense to me that you would arrest a person, have them heavily guarded with police. The EMPD at the time had rifles.
Yeah.
And you didn't search him. And we must believe that. He wasn't searched. He went to confess with Magistrate Grenier. Even Magistrate Grenier was describing the weapons that the police had with them. And he had his cell phone with him. So the state's version is that the phones were not confiscated at the time. So on the 18th of June 2020, accused number 2 was taken to Sibanye Stillwater Mine, and Vaintelingam said that at 11:10:45, the number 8460 received an SMS, and the tower was Driefontein Mine Tower, and it picked up at 11:39. 8460 was on voicemail, and the tower was East Driefontein, and the cell phone was on voicemail at the time. So 13:16:35 until 14:30:52, voicemail. The phone was on voicemail, and it was at East Driefontein Tower. At 19:03:20, 8460 remained on voicemail, and the tower there was Verwoerd Park. Now, Verwoerd Park is very interesting. Ramasipili pointed it out that it is the evidence of Mokhani that on that day, the suspect was taken to Sibanye, his former workplace, and this Verwoerd Park tower is in Alberton. Now, the trick here was with this number of 8460 that was being used. But then, reading Verwoerd Park Tower.
Yeah.
And this number that was being used, it belonged to another network. I don't know whether if I'm mistaken or not.
Yeah.
Because Sibanda raised that objection to say that it belonged to another network. But Verwoerd Park is in that place in Alberton. And okay. Then Ramasipile asked to approach accused number 2 before wrapping up his cross-examination. Now, I felt like Ramasipile had just studied the data here and he had found the loopholes, and not shared them in so many words. Ramasipili then came back and said that the state's version is that Mokhani said that the phone was taken from accused number 2 at the Valeria police station on the 7th of February 2020. And from the 15th of March 2021, he said to Faintelingem to tell him if that phone was at TSU in Middelburg and if it was still making transactions. Faintelingem said that, as they had mentioned yesterday, she was supposed to get that case ID with the relevant information and she didn't receive it. So Ramasipili told her that the information of the phone was confiscated by the police, or after the phone was confiscated by the police, does exist in her exhibit. She paged through the document that she had. And it's quite interesting that she didn't want to go to March or after the date of the so-called confiscation of the phone. She was very resisting in that direction. Ramasipili wanted up until the 15th of March, and Faintelingem said that the data only goes up to the 12th of February. Ramasipili said that they would revisit that again. And it's also at that point, to me, felt amazing, to me, in my opinion, that this phone is being pinned on Ntanzi, and yet he always had police around him, And on the 12th of March, he said that it reflects an undefined tower. Now she finally shared the date of March 2021. What happened to the phone? Because remember, they said that it was confiscated on the 7th of February 2021.
Yes.
And it went to Mpumalanga at some police division to be investigated, right?
Yes.
But when she had to share the dates of what happened to the phone after it was confiscated, it became rather a challenge for Ramasipili for her to go there. So on the 12th of March, it reflects an undefined tower. And from the 2nd of March 2021, it picked up at, it was Modokoda Tower. I don't know if I heard it correctly. And she said that the activities that were on that phone at the time were USSD interactions. When you dial your star 120 star or star 140 hash, those numbers that you dial when you want to buy airtime could literally interact with the network. So Ramasipili spotted a call forwarding, and he had to squint. I literally saw him looking for it and pointing it out. He was squinting there at the screen, and he said that he spotted a call forwarding there, somewhere there. And Faintelingem now said that 8460 was on a voicemail from 1959 up until 1837. And on the 16th of March, 12:06:48, 8460 received an SMS from 0953 Kilmuntawa. And Sibanda objected and asked if 8460 was the number of the cell phone that was confiscated with the cell phone at Valeria, or is it the one that was ending with 6890? So that's where I was before earlier. But that number initially that I was kind of perplexed at and stuck at, it was correct. It is the number that Ntanzi was assigned, and he did say that it is his number. And then this number of 8460, that's where the tricky part came in for Ramosepili. Turns out that this number, it wasn't pulled.
Yeah.
It's the number of another network. So Ramosepili had to withdraw the questions pertaining to the 8460 number. So he said that they were also waiting for the 2nd of March.
I've got my own questions about all these things.
Okay.
First of all, the state wanted to prove the case. They went to Vodacom, they asked for Section 205 to be executed, and they got it properly. Why didn't they do the same with other network providers?
That is the big question.
Why? Is Vodacom accessible that much?
Why
for
is
them?
Vodacom so easily accessible?
Is it easy for them? Is it friendly with them?
I saw some people on the chat actually saying, are people safe with Vodacom?
Yeah, because they're talking about intercepting and all those things.
She said it yesterday.
You know, it feels like there's a bit
and
of
monitoring.
In my opinion, it feels like there's a bit of a political hand when it comes to Vodacom that is at play. Because this case, in my opinion, is political.
Mm-hmm.
So, why choose Vodacom? And with, in my opinion, a questionable character, because from what we are hearing on the streets about the person who's testifying.
Remember the caller that called in and informed
those
us
allegations.
the allegations that they were making.
So I don't want to dwell in them,
even...
but really, I'm surprised. Obviously, this is just an allegation. Also, here, there's nothing to it. We do not have proof.
But the court of public opinion, I saw a lot of the questions on the chat.
The person has at some point been...
Are people safe with Vodacom? That is the big question. You know, because why is the only Vodacom person testifying? Who, for me, I feel like the most part that made me feel very uncomfortable is this person has been working closely with the police for 18 years. She mentioned it yesterday. She works with SIU, SARS, but the police is more, you know, and she's been holding this position for 18 years.
I'm worried. I'm worried, but yeah, it's fine. Let us forge on.
Well, the judge said that the data Ramosepili was asking for, Fine Dillingham has it in her computer, you know. And I also felt at that moment that this has just exposed something also regarding the 8460 number that is still having activities even after the other one was confiscated.
Yeah.
Picking up Bofervur Tower and stuff.
Yes.
So for the phone that was confiscated, Fine Dillingham said that it ended on the 29th of November. And the next day, she seized the data from the 15th of March, 2021. So from December until early March, there were no activities. And Ramosepili reminded Fine Dillingham that there were transactions that she testified to. And they included December 2020, because now Fine Dillingham was trying to run away from this. Okay, she was literally trying to run away by saying that there was no data from November up until March for this number that she testified in her evidence in chief. It even had transactions that she named one by one in December, January, February. It was a drag. It was a drag, but she did mention that the transactions did happen. There was an SMS calling who and who received an SMS. Do you guys remember that? But today, conveniently, she was trying to tell the court that there was no data for January, for December, for that phone that was confiscated. The very same phone that she shared for every month in her evidence in chief. It was very interesting. I don't want to lie to you guys. It was mind-blowing. Well, all that Ramasipili wanted to know is that while the phone was confiscated by the police, they didn't have any transactions in the hands of the TSU in Mpumalanga or not. So on the 6890, she finally admitted, Van Tillingham, that there were transactions as the phone was with the police.
Why is it so difficult?
It was difficult, though, getting it out of her.
Why is it so difficult?
I don't know.
Guys, just please press the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like the video, join the membership for those who haven't. Please, when you get time, please visit membership, because that's how we get paid. So that we can keep on working and keep the lights on, because for us it's all about that, keeping the lights on and paying this area where we are renting.
Yeah, true. Hey,
we're renting the studio.
I know a lot of people are like, hey, people are making money. Maybe they are. We're not there yet.
No, we're not there. We're not big.
We're not there.
Not big.
I don't know what pushes us with this case, but somehow we are interested.
Yeah.
As much as you guys are, we are very interested in this case. So Sibanda was up saying that 6890 and that Ramasipili must point out to those activities according to Nemo. This was after the short adjournment. Sibanda came back with the U-turn, now asking for Ramasipili to code transactions one by one. Ramasipili did do that. He went to 153325. The number ending with 6890 was on voicemail. 3204 tried to call 6890, and the tower was Krunling MPU in Mpumalanga. So Ramasipili said that he was not thumb-sucking the information. This thing was presented by the Nemo system.
Yeah. And
he also went to the 17th of March 2021. 6890 received an SMS at 11:23:54. An SMS was sent from Vodacom and the tower was Gremlin, and there were no incoming or outgoing calls, and the transactions ended on the 19th of March 2021 at 13:58:31. So Advocate Charles Mnisi, for accused number 3, Mthobisi Ngube, started his cross-examination with Van Tillingham's qualifications. Van Tillingham was asked about the kinds of fraud relating to identity fraud and SIM cards and airtime fraud. And there is a number of ways she said that this fraud can be experienced. And Mnisi asked her that in your area of operation, how does fraud manifest itself? And Van Tillingham said that they have a SIM card fraud and identity theft fraud. And she said that they have fraud where airtime is purchased or given to someone else fraudulently. And there are many others. So Mnisi asked, now you mentioned that there are some SAPS members that have access to your system. Van Tillingham said, yes, some officers do have access to TSU. And Mnisi asked, and you say that they have pins? And Van Tillingham said, yes, they do have pins. They log in with usernames and a password. So Van Tillingham then said that those officers make an application with Vodacom. The access is granted by her managers. And she says that the system is closely monitored and audited to see if there are any irregularities. They can see of an officer who has logged in. So this system, from how she's describing it, it can pick you up if you have interacted with the system, where you've went in the system. If you were busy there looking at incline or people's information that you shouldn't have been looking at, she says it can pick up your movements literally like that. I would have to believe it to see it. That's just me. But then Mnisi said that are there specific areas that will allow a Mr. X? Now, Mr. X, he's putting it as an officer, to enter that system. And Van Dillingham said that Mr. X will be able to access the front end info, and his access is different to mine. And Van Dillingham basically said that access to their system is monitored and audited, and Nisi referred Van Dillingham to her affidavit where she talked about the ethics of Vodacom processes. And he quoted from it and read from it, and it said that once Vodacom has received a request to extract core data, this request is archived. Core data recalled information is provided in a PDF form, and it cannot be altered or manipulated or tampered with while it's on the server. And Mnisi said that that sounds like Vodacom saying that while we have the information on our servers, no one can tamper with it. No one can manipulate it while it is in our servers. And Van Dillingham said that that's correct. So the judge asked Van Dillingham who extracts the information. Van Dillingham said that they extract the information based on what the subpoena requests. So the judge asked if this was not an outside person who does that, and Van Dillingham said no. So the judge was doing that thing of his again, of just interrupting, throwing off and making Nisi to just go the other way. And, I'm annoyed by it, but it seems like he can't help himself. So, yeah. Nisi asked Van Dillingham also to clarify that this Mr. X has this username and password, and he's able to extract this information. Van Dillingham then clarified that there are different levels of access. She went on to explain the checks and balances involved before the information is extracted and made available to a TSU. Van Dillingham said that when they provide information, they do so in good faith, and they hold no responsibility to what happens to it afterwards. So Mnisi then said, is this disclaimer also briefed to Mr. X? And Van Dillingham said that when the data leaves their offices, it's in PDF form. And she said that we give it to you in good faith. Once it leaves our office, we don't know what happens to it. That's what we do. She said once they leave the signature on the document, nothing can be added or changed on that PDF document. I don't know. Our PDF editors now, so anything is possible. We are in a world of AI where literally voices are cloned to make it sound like people who did not do that or say that. We live in that era now.
So Mnisi, what he was trying to do here, he was trying to cast doubts on the system.
Yes.
And if you would have done the research, what the front end is basically saying is that you interact with an interface where you are limited. It's more like a dashboard. You can action few things that would show sort of a trail. I agree. I know that you said you doubt that you could have a trail of the system interaction of what a person has done. All companies have that. All companies have that. When you log into their interface, obviously you must know that Emily has logged in and Emily did 1, 2, 3.
I'm not saying denying it for all companies, but I'm just looking at the quality of evidence being presented by Vodacom, and I have serious doubts. That's just me.
I would never doubt that if I was you, because we're talking about as much as we are doubting, in my opinion, Vodacom as a company, but it's a private company.
I see you have faith.
No. Now I'm gonna be indulged. I know I know someone who worked there.
Okay, at least you know somebody.
Who, in fact, was working with.
Miss Van Dillingham is not a good presentation.
Why?
Unfortunately, in my opinion.
Okay, Yeah, it's better if you say it like that, in your opinion.
Yes, in my
So
opinion.
all I'm saying is that I know a very good a guy, very good in coding. I've worked with him, worked there. He has left also. But yeah, the system, they have really huge data there. And yeah, I know that they've got systems in place. What they
And
do with those
then
systems,
why
it's a
are we
different story.
being given this version of Miss Vaintilingem's evidence? Like
Obvious, people
things
have
are
levels
missing.
of. I mean,
like the company as huge as Vodacom is incapable of pulling data from 2018 and
you
stuff.
see the problem. I mean, there are rules that are written.
There are
for a
rules
company.
that are written for
You
a
call
company.
an insurance company, they tell you how long they can keep your data on the system. They're not necessarily saying that they crash your data per se, but for them to now go and really find that, it were a hassle. That's what they are saying. So they say we keep your data maybe for 5 years. After 5 years, we are done with you. You know, that is to protect ourselves. And remember, we're not talking about a system specialist here. We're talking about someone who is in the forensic side of things. And those people does not necessarily mean that they know the system. There's IT part. If it was an IT person, there are questions that you would ask and that would make sense. And then there's the other part, which seeks to look at the image of the business when it comes to laws. And that's where Will Pinky and everyone has said. That's what I will explain to you. That's what I would say to you.
Well, Mnisi then went to the activities on the 26th of October 2014 and the call data. This was with regard to the cell phone number ending with 8169. And the allegations by the state is that around 8:30, there was an intrusion at the 13511 in Katlehong Street in Vosloorus, and that's what brought everybody in that courtroom. Yes, the state then went out of its way, Nisi said, to say that accused number 3 was one of the intruders in the house. And Nisi said that they need to go to 26th of October 2014 for the number which ended with 8169 and the data. Having gone through this information, it is so there is a trajectory that this phone follows from the 26th of October 2014 up until 2032-57. Okay, I have to be honest about Nisi's cross-examination. In my opinion, I was bored. It was dragging. It was long. I was tired. At some point, I don't know whether he was dragging to have more time or what. I don't know, but I just felt it. I felt the heaviness, and when I feel it from Ramosepele, I say it, and when I feel it from any other defense counsel, even the state itself, I say it. But with Mnisi, I felt it today. I felt heavy. That's my opinion, Mr. Anonymous. Ungangishayi.
No, I'm not gonna.
It was a drag.
All I'm saying is that what I like about Nisi, what he's doing also, as much as there's a division, in my opinion, with the defense, there's a common factor about the division of the defense since this case started long time ago. There's a common factor. That's all I can say. I'm not gonna take it any further than that. What I like about this is admitting some of the things, which is obvious. It does not labor points that are unnecessary or even try to sway the narrative. In admitting that, yes, indeed, accused number 3 went to Veiws and Vosloorus, which is not a problem, which is not a sin, but it was outside the time when the incident happened. It was way before that. At 5:30, this man was in Joburg.
Okay.
That's what I liked about it. So some people might be confused about him admitting to that. It feels like he's actually saying that, yeah, I'm guilty or my client is guilty. No, he's not. He's literally stating the facts to support his theory. He's even now giving more information as to what happened, what transpired.
He did give more information, and let me get
So
into
that's
it.
where you people would say we feel heavy, because if instead of explaining what happened, the story of what happened of accused number 3, he just went on and asked questions, you'll be confused, Ankit. You'll be very confused and say, why did he say he went there? Why did you'll be asking questions. He's actually collaborating what the so-called Section 205
or service provider
is
evidence
saying. He's not against it. He is for it. And remember, his client is the one that has from 2014. So he needed to come at it properly. And you can't just hush ask questions and leave.
Well, Mlisi said, and the next activity was on the 27th of October at 8:08. And Mlisi said that it is so from the first entry on the 26th of October at some stage, but it was in Hout and Moy Street, then Volvota, then it picked up at Vosloorus Square. Also Tabuntsako and Sally section. These are the towers that he was mentioning, and then Vosloorus.
Yes.
So he said that this gadget spent a lot of time until 1628 on the 26th of October in Vosloorus. Van Dillingham said yes. And Mnisi said, and then from Vosloorus it moved to Heidelberg Tower at 1704. It eventually picked up at Ben Rose. And Mnisi said that the last activity picked up on this device was at Holt Street Tower at 2032, and Van Dillingham said yes. So Mnisi said that this evidence, I know I'm putting you in a corner, but this information is exactly what happened on that day. That confirms the version of accused number 3. Van Dillingham said yes. And Mnisi said if circumstances were to demand, he will come and say, look at exhibit GGG1, that was my movement. This is what he is going to say if he is called upon. He will say that indeed he was staying in Joburg, Connor, Main and Nugget. And he said that he was renting a flat there. And it's no wonder when he woke up on the 26th of October and he was busy with his phone. And now we see that it was Holt Street and others. And he said that in the morning of 26th of October, in the company of accused number 4 and other gentlemen, he said that himself, Mr. Mapisa and others, they hatched a plan to drive to Spruit using a kumbi. They went there to see their friends.
Was that with Mr. Mapisa? I'm sorry. I heard a different version.
Okay.
I think he said there's this guy whose number was there also. Who's this guy? But there were other people that were there, and then there's this guy. Was it Kwabin or someone?
It can't be Kwabini.
No, it can't be.
It was the other one whose numbers was mentioned
but
before.
But he met Mapisa and everyone at what is this hostel? George Koch.
George Koch.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure about the movement. They were not there. I don't think they were there.
They were not where? At George Koch?
No, they were at George Koch. But in terms of the taxi and moving to Veiws and Vosloorus, it was other people.
But accused number 3's phone, remember, at around 2 p.m. it's picking up at Vosloorus.
Yes, I'm saying, I'm not disputing that. But
Okay.
I heard you saying Mapisa was also part of that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I'm
So
confused.
you're saying Mapisa was not mentioned?
Mapisa was only found with accused number 2 at... Yeah, they were mentioned actually.
Okay.
They were mentioned. Yeah, the picture issue. Where was the picture taken?
It was at George Koch. They were together on that day.
Okay, continue. Maybe
So According to their version, it was taken.
Oh, Mabungu. Mabungu was
Oh,
also
Mabungu.
there.
Yes, Mabungu. I happen to have left him out. My apologies.
Mm.
Well, they went to Spruit, and he's not sure about the exact time. And he said that on this day, they ended up at Spruit. That is why at 11:22, Museleki, the tower, and Ponejo tower were picked up. So he can't remember for how long they were there. And at 12:26, they were at Thabo Ntsako Tower. Then they drove over to Vosloorus. They visited Lesedi there, a place. And at 13:41 up until 16:38, they were specifically at Lesedi. He says that while they were there, they would buy beer and go out and do this and that. So their focus was at the Lesedi area. Nisi then said that then from Lesedi in the afternoon, they decided to head back home after a jamboree. I don't know what a jamboree is, Mr. Anonymous. What is that?
What?
A jamboree.
I don't know.
And at 17:05, that's why his cell phone is picked up at Heidelberg. Ben rose, and then it ends at Holt Street. Van Tillingam said yes. Mnisi said that's his version. On their arrival, they moved to George Koch Hostel, which is in Ben Rose area, which is not a surprise as it's depicted in this exhibit. They spent time at the hostel. That's where they met accused number 5.
Exactly.
And he was from work.
In a company of accused, was it in a company of accused number 2?
Yes. Not
I mean,
accused number
accused
2.
number 4.
No, accused number 4, Mr.
Yes.
Mapisa, yes.
Yes.
So Mnisi then said they then decided to leave to their respective areas in the Kumbi. Accused number 4 was left in the Jewel Street and accused number 3 and 5 were dropped at Nugget Street where they shared a room. They then slept right until the following day as they were inebriated. They had taken a part in diluted waters.
They were in a jamboree. Now you know what jamboree is.
Now I know what jamboree means. The learning never stops. So Mnisi then said, photo number 9, there were 2 gentlemen there squatting. Okay, he referred them to that picture of them there at the hostel. So the one in lightish clothes, accused number 3, and there was also accused number 4, and the photo was taken at 11:22. And you will see that at 11:27 up until 12:41, as per his version, they are at Spruit/Katlehong.
This is during the day.
Yes, during the day.
Yes.
Then this other photo was taken at 17:35, and the area that was depicted on the second photo, the initial photo, the area was not depicted, but then he said that it was in Katlehong. So the second picture is the one that I'm mistaken with, is the one that was taken in George Koch and George Koch Hostel. And Nisi asked Van Tillingam what she saw there. And Van Tillingam said that she saw 2 gentlemen, one on the right and the other on the left. Nisi also pointed it out that one gentleman there had an earring on their ear before the lunch adjournment. And the judge was pressed. He asked, in fact, Nisuguti, what is he supposed to make of that evidence that he had an earring?
Yeah.
So after the long adjournment now, change of plans. Advocate Judge Baloyi appeared out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, where are you coming from? Where have you been the whole morning? Why are you here now? And he said that he asked for the cross-examination to stand down. The defense requested the reanalysis of ballistic exhibits, and that the ballistic exhibits were in court This is the projectile as well as the firearm in question. So the matter needed to be argued in an open court, he said. So Mnisi needed to motivate for the reanalysis of the exhibits. Mnisi wanted the court to advise him on how the process should be conducted. Do you think Mnisi was thrown off guard by the whole? Now he needed to argue the validity of the exhibits, the firearm and the projectiles and all of that was used for argue. Do you think that maybe he wasn't aware that he needed to do that? I'm just asking.
He was aware of what is supposed to happen.
So why was he asking how he wanted the court to advise him on how the process should be conducted?
The process of taking evidence of that gun and all those things.
Oh, so the judge then said that the formal handing over of the exhibits must be done inside the court. And he said that we have to be certain that the gun which is said to be used, and he said that he wanted to see it being handed over. The judge said that he must see it being handed over, and the aspect of the defense who shall be entitled to examine, analyze, or test it in the presence of the investigating officer and the expert of the state. So it seems the work of this ballistic expert from the defense will be done as the IO, Brigadier Gininda, as well as Mangena, the ballistic expert for the state, will be looking at him as he's doing his job. Yes. And he suggested that the expert and all the parties that were involved in the ballistic examination take the exhibits to his lab in Midrand, where he will analyze it in their presence. And he said that he does not think that it is feasible for him to take control of it. He'd rather give the control to the state, and they will do the analysis together, and they will be in his presence. So the state did not object to that. And Mr. Peterson said that he has a standard laboratory where he can do all these tests. And the judge asked if he did not want to use the facility for the state. And Mr. Peterson said that he had his own facility. So they wanted him to use the lab of the state. Then he insisted that he's got his own and he would rather work from his own laboratory in Midrand. So the judge asked Gininda if they had decided to keep those exhibits because of the possibility of theft. And Gininda said that they were in the safe and he did not come with them to court. So Mnisi wanted to see the firearm, if it was still the one that they were previously shown. There was a time that the firearm was shown in the court where Colonel Mangena was testifying. So Colonel Mangena should take that exhibit to the lab of Mr. Peterson is what the judge ordered. And what was Advocate Baloyi suggesting to Peterson was that they be shown the firearm and given the forensic back number and cartridge cases and bullets by Colonel Mangena, cartridge cases and the test bullets that were fired by Roofsaw. So these were the list of all the exhibits that he's supposed to get when they come. They were being read into the record. So exhibit bullets that looked like a 9mm to him, and he said that they were in good condition. And the other ones, he said, were so damaged that he does not think that they would be able to do a microscopic analysis on it. Remember when Roofsaw was testifying, he had said that he used the some bullets and some bullets were fine. He was testing using some of the bullets, remember. A magazine and cartridges, 9mm parabellum. And Peterson said that he is fully booked this week and that they have an arrangement with the state for some time next week. So they agreed on Monday, the 29th of July, 9 a.m. At the Forensic Hub in Midrand. And the third week of August, they should be done with the report. Earlier on, he had said the first week of August, but after consultation, he said that the 2nd of September. Shololo said that the date of the recess she already knows the date of the next recess is the 22nd of September until the 17th of October. After the judge was asking when will... I'm sorry.
No,
We haven't yet started. We haven't even warmed up yet. She already knows when the next agenda and how long it is going to be. Well, the judge asked if they're taking the exhibits now and if Colonel Mangena was going to take them himself. Peterson said that he prefers that they stay in custody and be brought to him on the 29th. Yeah, so the judge made a joke there. He said, because in Joburg, there will be guys that are listening, and everybody was laughing. So I'm guessing this was some kind of shade being thrown, because later on, he asked Mnisi why he was laughing. And he said that, have you not heard about the prosecutor who was shot, who was dealing with an income tax case?
What is worrying me is I see everything else unfolding. You know, Shalolo. Minela I'm just gonna say this. My opinion, obviously, I know she's your darling. Something is not giving for me. I don't know.
She already knows.
It's not even about that.
For me,
the whispering sometimes that we would hear from her in court and things like some of the things you could almost hear the fight and with Ngomezulu, for example.
Okay.
You could hear disagreements now and then. And
also the adjournment, her not wanting to work at least a week afterwards, because I feel like this cross-examination
would have been crushed and done.
The fear that you had communicated prior before the recess. It actually happened, because now look at how butchered this cross-examination.
It lost the steam and everything.
I know.
But few things, man, that she does for me that do not make sense, if you ask me. When she does what looks like a bit good, I still have that thing.
Back of your mind.
I cannot.
That she has been with this case from
shake off
bail.
What happened to D4, and in my opinion, the role that was played by people who were there, I can't shake it off. Everything that I see happening seems as if when there is someone, let me put it like this, who's willing to fast forward this case and finish it, there is a bit of dragging that happens there. Just when someone is in a hurry to finish the case. D4 was in a hurry. D4 wanted a trial within a trial, and if that trial within a trial set at the time, probably this case would be done and dusted. And at the time, it was the judge, the Mr. Afro, who was much more better than the current one, in my opinion. As much as he had his own thing of dragging, but he was much more better. More of a judge than anything else, if you ask me. But there was lack of support. In fact, there was more support towards the state's objections and all that, in my opinion. That's my opinion. We are here today. this case
No,
is looking
no.
like this, I can say that even case 375, for it to be included, it was D for fighting alone.
Yes.
Shololo never
Was
fought
quiet.
that thing, but he's reaping the benefits now.
Yeah.
And after that, after D for fighting for that, Shololo asked for a long adjournment to go through something that later Tifo would say that actually Mshololo had this thing.
Had this, I remember this is
You
what
know,
I wanted
those are things that
to put it, because now it's bothering me. There was a time Advocate Tifo had said that with regards to the second docket of 375, after the incident of the day or the court proceedings of that day, when Mshololo had expressed to the then judge pre-de novo that Judge Shipiwa Maumela, where he had said that she said in court that she had never seen the docket or the second docket.
yes.
She acted all brand new, and she was like, I have never seen this docket, I've never been given this docket. And then later on, Advocate Tifo does an interview in the very same day and said that no, that is not the case.
We were together when
we received it.
this docket from, who was it from?
Advocate Baloyi.
Hey, from Baloyi. And
he
Baloyi
said,
never, you see, that's where the problem is. Baloyi never said, no, Mshololo, I
You
actually
got
gave
it.
you with Tifo.
do you understand?
You know,
And then she had to take a whole 3 months to go through that docket that Advocate Tifo had said, but no, you received it with me on the same day. And I was like,
yeah, and at some point, if you ask me, this case seems as if there was someone who was gonna turn on this accused, and things might have changed now, in my opinion, looking different.
Yeah.
But at some point, there was seemingly someone who was willing to actually say, yeah, I'm going with this whatever theory that is given to this court. And you look at the client, where the client is, what has the client has to lose? Nothing.
Basically
and
nothing.
the question still remains on how Shololo got to know this person. And
And then another thing that I always wanted to, or that just came to me now that I reflect and I look back, I'm also thinking about that time when we had no idea that Mshololo had actually been with this case all the way from that Boksburg court appearance. I think we found out as we had to go back and it was being brought into evidence that, you know what, Mshololo was actually there. And even Advocate Judge Baloyi said, you were there. No, it wasn't Advocate Judge Baloyi, it was Brigadier Kininda.
yes.
While he was testifying, say, but Mshololo, you were there. And I was gobsmacked. You were here from the very beginning.
Meaning that you probably could have had sight of the so-called Mshiako. Yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know, man. I know many of you you enjoy sometimes how she does things. I don't have any problem with how she does things, but some of the things, man, are pointing somewhere.
She's
somehow
more than
that
happy
she's
as
more
well to
happy
drag.
with a drag, in my opinion. That's an opinion. We're not saying that is what
That
is
is what
happening.
is happening, but it's an opinion and observation from, it's a speculation from us. Okay. But, I mean, that 1 week, sacrificing that 1 week to finish with Fine Dealing Game so that now perhaps the focus could have been on something else.
You know, Lukaku.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you need to have that third eye in some of the things. You'll be surprised. you'll be surprised, in my opinion.
And you need to question.
And if you don't question, if you flow with the flow, and then you're like, oh, today the questions were serious. The only time things seem to change, long time ago, even during Maumela's time, I complained about Shololo. At the time,
it was very unpopular.
She looked more like a darling. And
it was a very unpopular opinion. People attacked Mr. Anonymous. They're like, no way.
Now, the only time Shololo seemed to be more up, is when a judge that came in, which is Rata, did not seem to, in my opinion, favor her. She's always poking, yes, unfairly sometimes, in my opinion. That made her now, there was no, that relationship that, in my opinion, I could see between the state and her, it died. It died because now all of a sudden it was blow by blow. And then some people who got in there at the time, they would think, yeah, this is what, no. I give her flowers when I see something. Yes. But with that, I still do that with a pinch of salt. Say, yeah, okay, you could have actually supported your colleague, and this case could be done by now.
Yes.
Because later on, everyone except me was against it for calling it for this UNISA, what. Every way.
Personal attacks.
Later on, some of you came to party like, Tifa was actually right. Tifa was actually later. As an advocate, why couldn't you see that actually Tifa was right? I mean, I understand the layperson like us, doubting and then later seeing the real truth. It's like with this thing of GNU, other people that are still seeing a good one. It will take maybe 5 years for them to realize, oh, actually this thing messed us up. Yeah, it's normal for us lay people.
There's an interesting clip I saw. I don't know how many of you guys came across it. It made me think. But it was quite interesting. I'm going to briefly explain what is happening in the clip. I think it's from a movie or something. I just happened to see it on social media. So this lecturer walks into a class. I think it's a law class. And he picks at one student and says, you, get out of my class. I don't like you. Get out. The girl took her bags. She's shocked. She felt ostracized, obviously, but she picks up her bag. You can see that she's shamed. Then she walks out. And after she walks out, the lecturer asks the students in the class, why didn't you fight for her? What is your definition of justice? He begins now asking them questions.
Which is true.
Why did you let that happen to your fellow classmates?
And you keep quiet just because it's not you.
And he said, if you allow that to happen to her, it will also happen
to you. Yes.
And I was like, wow. He's actually right.
That's why at some point when some of these things are happening to Mshololo, for me, I still feel sorry, but sometimes I'm like, you could have avoided this. You could have avoided this by standing up when it was not you who was on the hot plate. You could have stopped it from there.
People, maybe I'll say for now, our people don't see that. They're like, as long as it's not me, as long as it's not me. They never imagine what is happening to them.
I'm trying to people confuse shouting with
assertiveness,
yeah,
or being stern.
Yeah. And then they think that you are really a lawyer because your your voice is high pitch, and when you say things, sometimes you. I'm just gonna be honest on my side. If you look, it's if I was a judge, it is easy to get into Mshololo's skin. There are a lot of things that she says. There are a lot of things that she says, and she says them without giving or following that up with the law.
Like
she would say things like, she sometimes listen to her most of the time. If you compare between Ngomezulu and her, Ngomezulu is capable of going down with the judge without, because and Niece is also capable of going down with the judge with law. But this is this is the case. Now it gets emotional with Mshololo most of the time, because the judge, obviously, as much as we don't like him, he's got some information.
No, he
about
knows.
the law. He knows
the
his
law.
books.
Yes, he does.
When he says on what grounds.
That is what you cannot accuse
and then
him
we
of.
get
That's
emotional.
why he can navigate it. He can navigate, twist and turn it.
He's capable of being able to twist things, in my opinion.
Because he knows. He knows what he's doing.
And most of you get emotional. Because when that happens, it feels like, oh, why? But you know it's obvious. There are things that are obvious. In the very same court, they are obvious. You like, but he's right here. Just that I don't know what law I can actually use. But and it seems right. It seems,
But I need a law to counter this quickly.
The judge works with that. So, I know you think.
I need a section, Tony.
He's poking the facts.
I need a judgment from way back, what that can support this.
He's poking the facts and all that. Yay. The difficult part in that court is being the first and the second one. And even the third one. The last one is almost the summary of what they've said.
Yeah.
And if you feel someone really did not hammer enough on that point, you use it. So being the last one is much more easier than being the first one, second one.
Well, you see, had a strong headache is what he said. He said that everybody in that court, Ramasipili and the interpreter, were complaining about this very same headache. So he asked for an adjournment. He will continue tomorrow with the witness by Tellingham.
Please like the video, share the video, let us talk. Call us, tell us what you think.
There's a guy with strong moti in there. It's a joke, of course. It's the joke the judge made, which reminds me of things I used to hear about the court, really.
We are from the cup.
The synonymous white cup. It had a lot of allegations, that poor white cup. And also, like, literally growing up myself, I was like,
one day you'll get my point. Yes, I'm from far with this case. I've watched this case from the beginning, before people were summarizing it, and we started summarizing it from the documentary, and we went further and further and further and further. It takes time sometimes. There are things that you will not understand.
True.
That court.
Even
myself. Not a master, but there are things that if you use your brain, they are easy to fathom. It can be that we all want justice for Senzo as quick as we can. That we enjoy the delays. No, it can't be. That cannot be right.
And therefore wanted it to move to be fast. In fact, he said, drop everything. Let's just go to 375.
Exactly.
Look at what happened to him. Right now, we're in a situation where Mgomezulu wants to wrap it up.
Exactly. And because it's being paid, the person who's paying Ngomezulu is not the state.
No.
He knows that my client is going to run out of money. Dragging this case is basically kicking Ngomezulu out. I'm telling you, in my opinion, if you drag this case any further than this guy is not a rich person.
No.
We're talking about someone who's barely making it.
Yes.
And you are dragging the case. When you drag this
They are
case, every time
literally
Ngomezulu appear
draining
in that court, someone
the
must pay
pocket of
for that.
accused number
Yes.
one. And whoever is paying for his legal
And you have
fees.
heard the stories of what Ngomezulu has went through in terms of taking this case. You have heard about TT, how they were complaining about this case, also about being threatened or something being followed. And all that. If you are poking holes in the right direction, in my opinion, this case literally kicks you out.
Yes.
One way or another. And we are about to witness that, because as time goes on, eventually accused number one will fail to pay from Ngomezulu, and it's going to be done. Obviously cannot do this case for free. Tifo took it pro bono.
Yes, he did.
But in my opinion, maybe there was a reward towards the end. If you finish this case, then after that you start suing them. Maybe then after that you get the payment.
Yes, but now after what has just transpired, his funds also were drained at some point.
So you can't want this case and drag it this much. If you drag this case for me, because what I'm seeing is the state, in my opinion, drags the case. Understandably so. Because in my opinion, they don't have enough evidence. So instead of, remember what was said at the beginning, if this case is dropped in the right way, then we are going to 375.
Yes.
So now they have put 375 on the mud, in my opinion. It's dirty. It's not workable. This dragging has actually created that. We are from de novo with this case.
And there are some people there can double charge them.
So if you don't understand me,
for the same
I
thing.
understand. You will take time. As I said, we are different. It will take time for you to understand.
So literally
what's
the
going on.
only charge that would be left in 375 for the people, or let me not say the people in the house, that's if Kelly doesn't get charged in this current one of 636, but should she be charged,
as
then
they are saying they want
she
to
will
charge you.
only be left perhaps with defeating the ends of justice when it comes to 375.
Exactly.
All the other charges are kind of like gonna go away.
Then the 375 is gone also.
It's dead.
If they lose this case, either way, they have succeeded in killing this whole case.
So it's clip. It's like that. There's no getting out of this mess.
It's difficult for Ngomezulu to stay on course. He's not alone. He can try to finish up as quick as he can, summarize as quick as he can, get out of the situation as quick as he can. But if the second person takes over and say, my lord, can we adjourn? We'll come back tomorrow, and then tomorrow at 1, let's adjourn. We'll come back to
again.
it's eventually it's gonna run out of options, and it's gonna leave the case.
He's got
Now,
responsibilities.
the question that I would ask you, if that is done by someone who's, if that was to be done by someone who's on the defense side, what would you think? When now in your own brain, forget about that. It's like saying you love the player because he scores a goal this side, and then he comes back and scores an own goal. No, you cannot love a player like that.
No.
You feel happiness and then you feel sadness at the same time. Doesn't make sense to me. I would rather have a player that scores and I have a player that defends. So we need to fast forward this case. Otherwise, 375 by the time it finishes will be the thing of the past.
It will be dead. It will be dust.
So
It
think
will be
about
so
it.
ruined.
You can call, guys.
And the fact that the state has it and has been having it in its possession, you can even tell by how they've moved. It's because they've had 375 with them, and they are able to look at what happened, for instance, with the statement of Edward Klopp there, and how the navigation, around it has been, to such a point that it didn't even enter the courtroom. It doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? So we are in that predicament where 375 has given also information to the people that don't want this case to go where it needs to go.
So some of you might be enjoying bring the facts, whatever.
But this is draining, you guys.
As much as we are not happy with the judge,
It's
that
draining.
it seems as if this case has already been prejudged. The effect of losing this case by the defense is similar to that one of dragging the case. That's all I can say. If the case is lost, these people are finally taken to jail, convicted. It's done. Whether they appeal or what, there's not gonna be 375. It's
Yes.
done. You drag this case, 375 gets dragged along. Kelly Kumalo comes in, 375 dies.
Yes.
There are many ways 375
It's
dies.
going
Think
to
about that.
It's gonna be relevant.
Maybe it will make sense when I put it like that.
Yeah, there are many ways that have currently.
There are
now
many
been
ways of skinning the
created.
cat.
Yes. Yes, and
Even if the ballistic comes back and say, that, by the way, this is a wrong gun and whatnot, and the judge goes on and say, yeah, you guys are guilty. It's done with 375. Drag, you bring Kelly in. Kelly is charged, as they said. Now they are dropping Kelly as a state witness. They are charging her. It kills the case.
what would be your expectation from the ballistic evidence of the defense?
There are no expectations. The expectations, we are going to get the same outcome.
You know what my fear is?
We are going to get the same outcome. How? It's like, think
This
about
thing
it.
is making me very uncomfortable, and I don't know how to express it in a way where I don't offend people or offend. It's murky waters. But let me just wait to see how that evidence is going to unfold in court, because say sometimes you speak too soon and you ruin things.
Ntanzi, hello.
Oh,
Hi.
Mr. Amo,
How are you?
I'm fine. It's Mr. Jonas.
Yes, Mr.
Hi,
Jonas.
Mr. Jonas.
Mina into engiyibona la Mr. Amo ayikho. Into engiyibonayo lapho ukuthi le ballistic expect ngoba le 2 days le ubaloyi ebengekho ngayo.
You are going.
Mayibuya sekebuya nabo beyi-3 noGininda no.
Exactly
That's
what I
I
was
understand.
thinking. Exactly what I was
Ayihlalanga kahle nyana.
Ndavele ngabona ukuthi hayikhona.
Iyo le
Amen.
ndaba uRamspeed ephathwe likhanda nami livele langiphatha ngilala likhanda. Akho.
ngathi amen.
Hayi ide ubonile ne-excitement ye-judge ukuthi khona ukushaya amanzi.
It's like you're seeing a student.
Akho.
Hi, that's what I'm saying.
Hayi.
The outcome is the same.
Hayi. Akuhambanga kahle la.
Ah,
Uratha the way be-excited ngakhona mayibona ubaloyi. Akho.
Yeah.
Bekubonakala ukuthi hayi uyabona ukuthi kuyiwaphi manje i-results zizobuya sisesayidini labo. Na into engiyibonayo kule ballistic expect sokhuluma yona le nto yakhulunywa
woman
ballistic
can-
expect
estate.
ye-state.
Yep.
Ya mina ngibona kanjalo ukusuka lapho khona ukuthi mina indlela engibona ngayo uba i-ballistic ikhuluma the same thing okusho bazofunyana be-guilt la. So zonke lezi efforts zowela phansi zikaNgomezulu because mina ngiyabona nalapha kubani uNxumalo the way athule ngakhona ayi mina labantu laba ingumshololo engathi abafaki that thing man ukuthi mabakhuthaze umgomezulu engathi bamuyisa umoya ubonela umgomezulu mayebebuya kahle nalo Pinky makubuya ku-break lapha vele ngathi umgomezulu ikhona into ayizwile emvise kabuhlungu wathi uqedile nge-examination yakhe eyi ayikho hayi ngavela ngaphelelwa ngamandla straight
nami ngibonile
kodwa ayikho into esingayenza ukuthi mhlawumbe bayazi bona umsebenzi wabo unjani kodwa hayi indlela bathule ngayo hayi khona hayi
yeah
kodwa bengibona kanjalo mina le ballistic expect yeza nobaloyi ngo-12 o'clock ngo-2 o'clock sebuya noDilinda sebuya hayi khona hayi kufanele limphathe umnisi ikhanda hayi khona nami lisho la ngiphatha same time mangibabona bengena bebonke hayi ngiyabonga Mr. Arno.
Thank you. Yeah, it's difficult, guys.
Yeah,
the power that is given to the states, and this power is not just given by anyone; it's given by Roman Dutch law.
Roman Dutch law.
This power that
the clever blacks,
so
excuse my pun, are defending.
That's the power they have.
This is what Roman Dutch law looks like. And that is why some of us don't like it. It's because of
you
this.
Trust your enemy.
To do the right thing.
They say there are no enemies in law, but you trust your enemy.
You trust a person who is about to destroy your life
to do the right thing.
As they are
who, by the
destroying
looks
your
of
life.
things, not already doing the right things by the case itself, in my opinion. So, you asked me about the outcome. The outcome is the same. What happens if you test your cell phone, the same cell phone, you test it the same way you tested it before? Same cell phone, what happens? Does it change?
Get the same result.
You get the same result. You trust the states that this is the right gun. But what else can go wrong? The worst that can happen is to come back and say, no, this bullet was not actually shot on this gun. That's the worst that can come back. But that's not going to happen. Right? We're testing the same gun, same bullets. If it was planted, it is the same gun that was planted. You're going to get the same results.
And now there's no way of even... I guess this pistol, there's no way of even bringing in that revolver that has been mentioned over and over again because it's non-existent. Now they're going to use this pistol from another case.
I want a case there. I can tell you my opinion. You know Judas Aparat. About Judas Aparat. What you'll see later.
There are many.
Yeah.
There are many. It's not just Judas or one. About Judas abaningi.
In my opinion, kunabo Judas ngaphakathi lapha. But hey, sizolinda. Sibone, but I know ngingoswang. I know ngingosiwe. That's my opinion. Angivale le ndaba. Asivale guys. Thank you very much because you didn't say anything. Patwa makhanda nani.
Hayi savele saphathwa ikhanda so
as usual, the Queen of South Africa, thank you very much for being with us here. Net, thank you very much. Gift Nyati, thank you very much.
Gift Nyati.
Senzo Meyiwa, thank you. Mami, thank you. We see you. And we have Skululi Manzini, thank you. Tsidi Anna Mohapi, our member, thank you. Chuku Anna, thank you, for being with
Chuku
us.
Anna.
Lord, our member is also here. Thank you very much. Butu is also here. Thank you very much. Lukaku, thank you. Kiabeswa,
Thank you,
Napo,
guys.
thank you. Kosnati, Makaba, thank you. Who's this? Hey, Darwin, thank you. Let me see who am I missing here. Go up. There were a lot of people who were here. They just hide when I have to call their names out here. Hey, Adot. Sibanda, thank you. You were also here. Mrs. K, thank you. Tabiso M Daunga, thank you very much. Zozo Mahlangu, thank you very much. At 345 Gmail Tabi, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I'm
we
trying
appreciate
to
you.
look here.
And it's a good
My
night.
device is
from
not
us. So,
devicing.
there we go. One more time. Hello.
Ntanzi, reality show, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Johnny is anonymous.
Hey, we're doing well. How are you on your side?
I'm good. Njani is Meli.
Hi, siyaphila.
I thought I should take this opportunity knowing that delivered. I was worried yesterday, but I could understand that it was time about to open the lines. But since yesterday we had this thing of towers that the Mrs. Pinky was lying about.
Yes.
Yeah, and I understand your pain, and I'm with you in terms of losing hope. But to be honest, I am not yet, because I'm a person who's very optimistic. You see, and as much as I'm working for SAPS, and I've seen cases similar like this, at the end, there are so many ways to challenge it. Because I think it's your concern also as well. The attitude of the judge every day, every month is getting more worse to determine the biasness, And what I like, if you notice, because these small things, Mr. Amran, we have to look at it. These things that you sometimes talking about. I don't know whether you've noticed that yesterday. The importance of you guys doing this, not just only in Ntanzi Radio Show and other medias, because if you check on YouTube, it's all over. Everyone, other people I knew are doing the same thing of Senzo Meyiwa. They take it from you guys and everything. But what I'm getting at about yesterday, the point that I'm talking about is that when the judge was confronted by Nisi, saying that, I'm not sure what was the point that they were talking about, saying that, but the judge was saying, because I know there are people that think that they know better than I. And then Nisi was like, what are you saying? You see? And then you might think that sometimes he was talking to Ngomezu, but he was not. To me, it seems that your work that you are doing, that judge is concerned, he's watching this, he knows about these judgments, he views these things, you see. That's why Ngomezu was saying that you are cooking and all that stuff. And he's trying by all these things that for instance, that thing you mentioned that Baloyi was consulting this lady that is I forgot that is the registrar that the Ballistic has to meet during the recession time to end the boats and all that. Those are moves. If you had to play it draft, if you are going to hit me 3 scores, you need to give me 1 cow and that second one. And then I'm enjoying the 1-2, and then you take 3 after that. So he's doing it deliberately. And also, that omission of today, I'm sorry if maybe I'm jumping too much, that omission of this lady, Mrs. Pinky, of the information that was asked about with, I think with Ramosepit, if it's not me, I think it's Ramosepit, and she said she doesn't have it in her laptop, and then the judge quickly says, please, just bring it bring the computer, if ever possible. Ramosepit can just go and access that information. Why would Pinky did not print out that and submit it to the defense, if ever? So it's a chess playing or draft playing, which I'm not worried about as far as I am concerned, because the reason why I'm saying that watch these small things, if you check the camera, always that camera, once there is a response or there is something with the defense, it goes straight to the judge and you will see the face of the judge. But once the defense is challenging or is trying to be like digging maybe as far as the judge concerned deeper, then you will see the smile of the judge and the laughing and the giggling. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I do understand the frustration, but there are things here, if you listen even to Senzo Meyiwa's brother, says that irrespective or regardless of what they do, there is no way that they will change the fact that the gun, even with state witness, at the end, they witness the flywheel, even Kilinda witnessing the flywheel, irrespective of the ballistic report can come negative in case of these manipulations and everything, because that person is a white person as well. I don't really trust the white people. I know that from court, when I had a case, I even postponed my lawyer. I've been given a lawyer, a white lawyer. I said, no, I want Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams is a black guy, because that white thing is still there in those people. But nevertheless, my point is that there are so many loopholes. And lastly, going to this guy, Umgomezulu. Umgomezulu, if you check, and with Ramosepit, they are on point. Just forget about Ramosepit, because Ramosepit has got he has got no experience and is sometimes scared, being terrified by the judge, doesn't dig deeper. If you check, according to me, Mr. Anonymous, before I give it to you guys. According to me, because I had this with yesterday, people thinking that Ngomezulu was about to dig deeper. It's not the first time Ngomezulu does that and go to the and come back and say that I've got no question, because he leaves that person programming his mind with the questions of Ngomezulu, whereas he knows that somebody is going to get me. But this time, the way that he did, he was doing it different, because after. Okay, let me just put it this way. Ngomezulu prove the state that they omitted these 205s of other people that were in the house deliberately, so that to run away from being exposed. Because if Tumelo as 205 was there also, it could determine the exact time that incident had happened, and also what explosivity. Remember, Kenya has got 7. If it's not 6, it's 7 numbers, which are not included in those 205, which Ngomezulu mentioned that I do have 205 of, and he even mentioned those numbers. So, according to me, after Ngomezulu, let alone remember Ramosepit, you see today the way that he was exposing the state in terms of the numbers, that the numbers of accused number 3 that were not in what you call in Vosloorus at that time, and the last time of the number of accused number 3, which was picked by Pinky, and Pinky admitted. Now, the last point to leave, about this thing of Ngomezulu, that Ngomezulu is being probably by this lady Umshololo was probably blocked by Umshololo and all that, interrupted by Umshololo. Umshololo, after that short adjournment, was immediately with Ngomezulu, and I could see Umshololo twisting that mic, that where they speak on, twisting from Ngomezulu's mouth so that they can speak whatever they were talking about. So I think Mshololo at some point picked up Mngomezulu is going to be in danger with this judge because the judge is trying to poke Mngomezulu so that he can get out of the way, so that they can be expelled from this case. So I think Mshololo asked Mngomezulu some of the things that they will take care by themselves instead of all the facts comes with. So that's my opinion. I'm sorry to be wrong.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
All right.
We're looking at the positive side of things. That's great.
Right. It's
really
a good
great.
night from us. What amazes me is that the defense did not know the ballistic experts is coming to court. And who's representing?
Exactly.
Who's he representing? Yeah.
That is why I felt like Minister was thrown off
let's
guard.
wait. You know, I like it when we are so different. I like it because when everything comes together, we all are like, together. Yes, yes. I just like preparing myself for the worst.
Or you like preparing
more
for the
so
worst.
if I feel that the worst is still coming. But yeah.
Nah, I used to be an optimistic.
I am optimistic, but I
used to be the positive person, the one that be like, yeah, look at the brighter side of things. But hey, life has shown me flames.
No,
and now
look, pushing, just create a comfort. You know, before you decide to
I
jump.
hope for the best. I prepare for the worst.
Yes.
That's me now.
Yes. Before you jump down, put the sponges and everything so that.
Now I'm like, okay, it would be good if this turns out so great and the way I'm expecting. But should it not, I want to land with my feet.
You know what? But if only you knew. Yeah, I'm gonna close it like that. It's a bye from us.
Bye, guys. We'll see each other again tomorrow.
Yes.